What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on this situation that's going on with Ja Morant and the NBA. Ja Morant recently got into a little bit of trouble. And the what game was that? The game with he played against the Golden State Warriors, and he held up the shotgun sign right against the Golden State Warriors, and that kind of got him into some trouble, right? And then Adam Silver reached out to him, and told him, that he thought it was inappropriate, and and so Ja Morant, what he do the next game? He came back and he gave the gun gesture again, right? And so now, if like Ja Morant feels like he's being unfairly singled out, you know, um, other players around the league they give the little, the gun sign. Like if they hit a jumper or something, they act like they putting their gun back in the host into his holster and stuff like that, right? But you know, other players, I think Adam Silver feels like other players don't have the baggage or the reputation that Ja Morant has as far as like dealing with guns and stuff like that. Like Ja Morant had a couple incidents. I think one time he served a 7-game suspension for flashing a gun. Then the second time, I think he served a 25-game suspension for flashing a gun, right? And so now that he's giving the gun gestures, I think and he just got fined another $75,000 for that. So he thinks Ja Morant thinks that he's being unfairly singled out. But I think that with Ja Morant's background and and some of the past trouble he's had with firearms and stuff like that, that's why like they think it's inappropriate for him to flash the gun sign. Now, a friend of mine pointed out that they should maybe like kind of ban that people from flashing the gun sign across the league, right? And then that way, Ja Morant won't feel like he's being singled out. But I don't know if they need to ban it across the league. I think in and of itself, I don't see a problem with guys like when they hit a shot, hit a 3-pointer, and then they act like they shooting a gun or stuff like that. I don't know, but maybe if that's the thing to do for them to ban it across the league. But I do think that Ja Morant, if he tries to make this too big an issue, then he may not be. He may lose in the long run. This really the hill that Ja Morant wants to go down on. And by that I mean, I think that there are more serious issues for to stand up. This is not like a civil rights issue or something like that. He's basically he's just giving the flashing a gun sign, which if the commissioner says that it's not appropriate, then maybe Ja Morant should just leave that alone, because Ja Morant really, I don't know, like lately he all right, over the past few years, over the past 2 or 3 years, I think Ja Morant has missed 124 games and played like 122 games. No, I think he played 124 games and missed 122 games. So, Ja Morant really need to, in my opinion, just focus on basketball. What's going on the court? He need to focus on getting better as a basketball player. When Ja Morant first came to the league, his first year, people kind of sagged off of him because they said that Ja Morant don't have a jumper. And so he worked on his jumper, right? He worked on his 3-point shot, and you could see that his 3-point shot had gotten noticeably better after his first year. In his second year, the shot was better. So, and so that was a good sign, and that was good for Ja Morant. But now Ja Morant, I think his game has fallen off, and they recently, got rid of his coach. Some people are saying that, part of the reason why the coach is gone is Ja Morant's fault, you know. So I think that Ja Morant really needs to be careful. Like I said, focus on basketball. He want to get his game together. Um, get his health together as far as like making sure that he's healthy and can play and and don't miss the time that he's missed. John Morant may find himself in a situation where the team is ready to move on. They might be, they may try and trade John Morant. And I don't think that it would be wise for John Morant to to show up the commissioner, Adam Silver. You don't want to show up Adam Silver. This, I think, in the short run, this might be a argument or a fight that Ja Morant he might be able to win this fight, but in the long run, I think it'll hurt his career if he really don't he just don't he leave this battle alone, because I think the commissioner really can't stop Ja Morant from giving that shotgun sign without stopping everybody else from doing it. It'll be a hard fight because what they'll Ja Morant will probably say is like, you singling me out, and that's not fair, right? And so in the short run, Ja Morant, there's no guarantee he might lose it, but I think in the short run, Ja Morant might win that battle when it comes to that battle. But it's really not a wise, wouldn't be a wise decision for, like I said, for Ja Morant to show up um Adam Silver, and that's why, I just think that I don't know who's advising Ja Morant, and I don't know like what his logic is with this. To me, it's really not all that serious. You just go ahead and you play basketball. This sometimes, and I don't even want to say that, like I was getting ready to say this generation, but in each generation you have guys who come along who make poor judgment calls, or not even poor, but questionable judgment calls. You want to, if you want to pick a cause to stand up for, then I think that there are more serious causes that you can stand up for. But to fight, to be able to give the, the shotgun sign, I don't think it's that's really worth it in the long run, especially if it's going to cost you. A decision like this may lead to Ja Morant um, being blackballed from the league. You never know. You could be blackballed. And for somebody to work as hard as, you got to work hard to get to the NBA. And you are part of a selective few, like a small fraternity. And that's something when you are part of that fraternity and you had to work so hard to get to be a part of that fraternity, that's something that you can't take it lightly. Um, you don't want to mess it up. You can't take it for granted. Like I said, there are a lot more serious issues, um, you know, than being able to just flash that little sign that John Morant is flashing. Um, his play has fallen off. People have already been talking about, like Ja Morant might be on a trading block. And once you get to a point where you are a person who can be, you're being traded, then your value kind of diminishes, right? Just because Ja Morant is a superstar on the Memphis Grizzlies, don't mean that he'll be a superstar on the next team. So he might be fighting for minutes on the next team that they go to. Ain't no guarantee that he's going to be logging heavy minutes, and then next thing you know, he'd be working his way to the end of the bench, and then pretty soon out the league. So That's I think Ja Morant is kind of overplaying his hand. He not really his main focus is should be getting his team to the playoffs, getting his game better. But this is a hill that he want this is a battle that he want to fight. And like I said, in the long run, I think John Morant will he'll regret that because you don't want to show up your boss like that, especially for like it's just really not a serious cause. And this might, he might lose millions and millions of dollars for this, start messing with your endorsement deals and stuff like that. I just don't really understand why John Morant would want to fight this this battle over that sign. Just he know, about the mistakes that he's made in the past. So he should really this is something that he should leave alone. Really he should, be trying to improve his image, if anything. You know, he wanna improve his image and work on like rebranding himself and get himself away from that like the rap culture thing and just stay away from all that. Rebrand yourself and play basketball and try to get better. But recently, over the last couple of years, his play has gone down. Let me see. He don't have a mid-range game to speak of. It's either with him, it's either a dunk or a three-point shot, and it's a lot. There's a lot to his game that could be improved, instead of him really, some of the stuff that he's focused on. But I think he's overplaying his hand if he think that he has leverage in this issue. Those uh owners and the commissioner of the league, they in the long run they're going to wind up winning in this battle. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And with that being said, also don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.